You're listening to Exploring Anime with Friends, a JMO for Real podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all major podcasting networks. I'm your host, JMO! And today's friend is my wife and co-host. How's it going today, Sarah?
Hi, everyone. It's going great today.
Excellent. You ready for this installment of Movie Edition Exploring Anime with Friends?
I love Movie Edition. Let's go.
Awesome. Today we will be exploring the world of Weathering with You, a drama romance released in Japan in July of 2019, a creation of Makoto Shinkai. First we'll be meeting our leading male and leading lady, Hodoka and Hina. Afterwards, we will be exploring some of the many other characters that add to the story of Weathering with You. And finally, we will dive into the conflict of this world that bring Hodoka and Hina together. If you like what you're hearing today, remember to check us out on social media. Like, subscribe, and follow. Sarah, which way do we want to lead? Do we want to start off with Hodoka or do we want to start off with Hina today?
I mean, it's told in Hodoka's perspective, so we should probably start with him.
All right, let's start with Hodoka. Tell us a little bit about our male lead.
So, unfortunately, we don't know why, but he's a runaway. He left home and is running away to the grand city of Tokyo. Why?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, we just know that he doesn't feel like he's seen or he's heard at home. But we don't know anything really beyond that.
I feel like there could be something with bullies because when you first see him, he's got some Band-Aids on his face and he looks a little roughed up. But yeah, he's gone. He's done with whatever happened.
So a little bit about his personality, too, because despite the fact that he is a runner, he doesn't necessarily seem to be somebody who is... Cowardly,
yeah,
right?
No, you're right. He doesn't seem that type.
Tell us a little bit more about the personality of Hodoka. The very complex personality, I feel.
Yeah. So, I mean, as much as, yeah, you're right, he ran away, he's not a quitter, though. So, whatever happened had to be extreme, because when you get to Tokyo, we as Americans, we don't have these things where they have to have, your kids have to have a license, basically, a school license, kind of, an ID card of some kind, just to get a job, pretty much. Because there's labor laws and stuff like that. So he is constantly calling, and he needs money. He gotta live. He's constantly trying to make calls, constantly trying to find someone just to get a job so he can keep going. And not once does he give up, head back home, or anything like that.
He continues to just try to find his way. The money runs out that he brought to the country with him. Eventually, he's living on the street. Whenever somebody approaches him, they're kind of like, you can't be here. He's like, oh,
yeah.
Yes, no, sorry. And he immediately leaves, and he's pulling what little money he has left to be able to get food or a warm beverage every now and again. He's just kind of living his worst life on the streets of Tokyo, but
Yeah.
It seems better than the life that he came from, which we don't really know too much about. But despite the fact that everything that's beating down on him, he's not completely depressed. He's not completely lost. He's holding on to the hope that something is going to get better somewhere, somehow, even if he's not vocalizing that. And eventually, he looks back at a business card that was given to him on the ship because, frankly, guy saved his life.
Yeah.
He was about to fall off the ship because a crazy storm came out of nowhere and just flooded the deck. He was about to be taken out to the ocean. A man saved his life. He treated him to food and everything for it and was very thankful. And the man said, you know what? Look me up when you get to Tokyo. So he still has that business card. And the whole movie kind of really starts when he gets in touch with this man, Kaisuke. But before we go too much into that, let's talk about our leading lady, Hina. Tell us about Hina, Sarah.
So Hina she's a young girl, she's working, and what we don't know at the beginning is it's just her and her younger brother, Nagi. We find out through some of the story that their mom died the previous year. Very tragic. And she's just at this point working just to keep them both good.
Yeah, she's working to keep them safe. She's working to keep them together.
Yeah.
She knows if they go to the system, they'll be taken apart. And, frankly, it's one of the things where she keeps on saying she's so close to her 18th birthday that, she will be able to take care of her brother when she turns that way. So she just has to get to that magic number that she keeps on telling everyone she's so close to, which we later find out isn't that true of a statement. But another thing we later find out about her is that on the night that her mom's life was taken by a terminal illness, she goes up to a roof shrine that evening, and she's praying so hard for the life of her mother, saying that she'll basically do anything. And as she's praying, she crosses over that shrine. Tell us a little bit about that moment and how it changed her life.
So it was a little more than that. She went to the shrine because it's just been constant rain for a little bit, and she wanted to just go out and walk with her mom one more time before the end. Just sunshine, walk with her mom. And as she's looking out from the hospital window, she sees this one brilliant ray of sunshine on the shrine. And she just like books it to it. And that's all she wants. She just wants sunshine one more time to have a very touching moment with someone that she loves and she's going to lose.
Well, and in that moment, she crossed over the shrine, and she's taken on this supernatural journey of sorts where she's flying through the air, but it's flying through the water in the air. There are like these little bubble-like fishes that are swimming around her as she's almost free-falling in a mystical trance type state. So there's really no clear way to put it. It's one of those things where it's not, I don't think it's explained too much during the course of the movie. And honestly, I think we're supposed to just accept supernatural and not try to figure it out here. But eventually, when she comes to, she wakes up on the altar with sun shining down on her, and she is now something special. Tell us about what she became and a little bit about what that means.
She became the Sunshine Girl. Basically, when it's raining, if she prays for sunshine, it happens. It's limited to like an area, it's limited to a duration. It doesn't last all day, but it's enough for like events to happen and things like that.
And it does come with a cost that we will cover a little bit more in the later portion when we're talking about the conflicts that are arising. But this is something, a very special power that has been around throughout the ages. A very special power that has been around through the ages. And it's something that has mostly been lost to myth and lore at this point in time. But as you would have it, Hodaka starts working for Kaisuke, and they're basically writing articles and doing reports for the equivalent of the Inquirer.
Yes.
So they're investigating things like Sunshine Girls and fortune tellers and stuff like that. So the link is getting there pretty quickly, but that's not the first time that Hina and Hodaka are connected. What's the first time that they meet together?
So before Hodaka had an actual job, he just went wherever he could, bought the cheapest thing he could to eat, and tried to live his life. And one time, he's kind of got his head down on the table, and basically, she just puts like a Big Mac down in front of him. I actually think it is actually McDonald's in the movie. She puts a Big Mac down in front of him.
So much better looking than any McDonald's Big Mac I've seen in real life.
Why does anime food look so good, even if it's food I know I've had?
Right?
Ugh. So she just puts it down, and he's like, whoa, are you sure? She's like, yeah, it's okay. And he even says it's the best meal he's had, which, if you're living off the streets, if you're living like that, I can imagine that being the best meal. And that's the first time they actually meet each other.
And the second time they meet each other is much different.
Much different.
We'll let you cover that at the point in time when you watch the movie for yourself, because it's not too, it adds some nice moments of suspense and tension during the course of the movie, but it's not as important to the overall plot that we're covering at this current point in time.
Okay, yeah. I'll agree to that.
So if you like what you're hearing so far, remember to check us out on social media, like, subscribe, and follow, and watch Weathering with You on Amazon Prime. You will have to rent this one, so this is going to be $3.99 to rent. I'm sure you could find it another way too, but that's the way that we watched it. All right, let's talk about some of the characters who help to influence the story as it's going along. Starting with a couple of cameo appearances.
Yeah.
This is actually in the universe that Your Name was in. We covered Your Name back a few months ago. We'll link that one in the show notes because, it's an
phenomenal.
Excellent movie.
Phenomenal.
But we have cameos from the lead couple in that one. One of them is portraying the son of someone who Hina helps as the Sunshine Girl. Other one is a clerk in a store who sells a ring to Hodaka. So I figured that with the quick shout out to Taki and Mitsuha from Your Name, definitely liked it. Definitely liked the fact that they did that.
Yeah,
as a
no,
shared
that was
universe.
really cool.
So it was very nice. Not much more beyond that, other than theoretically they both played a role in helping to bring the two of them together, because it was Hina's conversation with Taki that really helped her accept her fate.
Yeah.
And it was Hodaka's purchase with Mitsuha that really got him to realize, well, that really got him to ultimately help her oppose her fate. So, and that's where some of the conflict comes in. But before we get to that, let's talk about Kaisuke.
He's a very unique individual. At first, I wasn't sure if we could trust this guy, I gotta admit.
Yeah, right?
Everything about him kind of screamed shady from the very
business card
beginning.
says CEO on it.
Hey, he is the CEO of this two-person company.
Yeah, right?
So him and it's actually his niece, her name's Natsumi. They write letters for what, again, is the equivalent of the National Enquirer. Not letters. They write articles for what is the equivalent of the National Enquirer. He's just slightly shady the whole time.
And for those who are not getting the National Enquirer reference, I'm pretty sure the magazine's still around, but it's the one that talks about like Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot and Vampire Baby
like,
and all of that.
I had a vampire baby. Stuff like that. He is actually, though, a good guy. Despite the shadiness, he even says that they're not there necessarily to write the truth, they're there to entertain, pretty much. That's my words, not his exact words. I wish I could remember the quote. But he's actually generally a good guy who's trying to get part of his life back on track.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get his daughter back into his life.
Yeah.
So his daughter has severe asthma, and she cannot go outside in the rain.
The thickness of the air, yeah.
Yeah, because of the thickness of the air and everything. So it's one of those things where, because he lives in the city and he works in the city, and because children need to be able to play outside, and because the grandmother has the child and they're in a countryside that doesn't have the rain all the time, the grandmother is almost refusing to let him see her because he was a smoker, which he gave up. And unfortunately, stress brought back, but he gave up again for his daughter. And because of all the rain. So he's just trying his hardest to get his little girl back, because he lost his wife and his girl was taken from him by the grandparent because they didn't think that he could suitably provide for her. So he's trying to become the person that can provide for his little girl. And really, when it comes down to it, he kind of falls hard for Hodaka because Hodaka and Hina actually gave him the sunny day to spend with his daughter, and also because he realized that Hodaka has done so much to pour into his life. So it's one of those things where he realizes that it's kind of like, I need to help this boy achieve what he's going to achieve, because I'm not going to let mistakes made in his childhood ruin his life, because he reminds me a lot of me.
Yeah.
So, and then we have his niece. Tell us a little bit about the niece's personality and her overall role.
So Natsumi, and at first you don't, it's not said, for the first half of the movie, I swear that they're related. So you're kind of like, are they together?
Yeah, right.
It's kind of weird. Hodaka thought the same exact thing initially. But Natsumi, she's pretty cool. I like her. The first time that Hodaka goes with her on an errand to try to figure out something with one of the many, many different stories they could cover, she takes him to I don't want to say oracle because that's too old fashioned. What's the word again?
Fortune teller.
A fortune teller. Thank you. She takes him to a fortune teller, and he's legitimately jotting down notes, and she's legitimately just eating it up.
Yeah, she loves it. She genuinely loves it. Not that she isn't looking for a more legitimate job that can pay the bills better, but at the same time, she loves doing it. She loves exploring. There's one point in time where they, more or less, the temple with the origination of that has an old tapestry on the ceiling that explains the whole thing with the Sunshine Girls and the Rain Girls and everything. And she's absorbing that whole history. She thinks it's so cool that Hodaka, in her words, has a girlfriend that's a Sunshine Girl, and Hodaka's kind of like, she's not my girlfriend.
Chowder.
Yeah, it's one of those things where she kind of helps push that relationship along, and another one who really kind of helps push it along is Hina's younger brother. Talk to us about the wonderful personality.
Nagi is so great. He's a kid. He's a young kid.
Senpai, as Hodaka calls him.
He's oh my gosh. He pretty much has two girls going on at one time, and I'm like, what is this kid doing?
But not behind their back, right out in the open.
Oh Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
And he's like,
He's a young kid. While they're doing things, he's kind of giving some advice to Hodoka, and Hodoka's like, I should call you senpai. And then he does. Like, the rest of the movie, that's what he calls Nagi. It was hilarious.
yeah, no, but Nagi's full of personality. He's actually full of wisdom for his age, too. And it's like he has a special bond with his sister that he welcomes Hodoka into because Hodoka is helping him and his sister make money by booking appointments for the Sunshine Girl.
Oh, yeah.
So they go into business together, and it's kind of adorable the way that you see the three of them come together. And their bond becomes very important because of the conflicts that are arising. Eventually, it is caught up to Hodoka that he ran away. There's
Yeah.
a missing person report out on him, and the detectives are after him. They're trying to find him. But to make matters worse, in that second meeting with Hodoka and Hina, Hodoka actually has to pull out a gun that he found randomly in a trash can in order to effectively save his and Hina's lives.
Yeah.
She was going to enter a very compromising situation. He defended her. They were caught up to. The guy was going to beat him to death, and he pulled it out to save them. Didn't shoot anyone. He did shoot it off. Eventually tossed the gun away, but that's what got his picture on the radar for that area. So the detectives are coming after him. Meanwhile, you find out that Hina, well, you tell us Hina's secret and why the detectives are after her now.
So Hina kept saying that she's so close to being 18. And let me just repeat that. Hina kept saying that she's so close to being 18, just a couple more weeks. But really, she's only 15.
Yeah, she's going to be 16 in a few weeks.
So you find out,
Which Hodoka's 16 too.
yeah. So you find out that, she was fired from her job because she lied about her age. It's not, pointedly said like that, but that's why. And that also is caught up with her because she's too young to be raising her and her brother. And so now their version of, the system is coming after them.
So the three of them unite together, and they're all running away from the law because the law wants to deport him back to his home country after questioning him on, things with the firearm, and it wants to put the two of them into a home for adoption. So it's one of those things where they're all running together. Meanwhile, the storms are getting worse over the city
Yeah.
because there's far too many rain people and not enough sunshine. But the thing that is adding even deeper layers to the conflict is that Hina knows that she could stop the storms for good, but it comes with a cost. Tell us the true cost of being a Sunshine Girl.
It cost her life. I'm just gonna put it blunt. As they're progressing, as they're going through, Hina sees parts of her body that are usually covered by clothing where she's actually faded. It's getting transparent, completely through her. And she realizes that in order to bring the sunshine back on a more permanent basis, in order to stop this crazy rain that's actually causing floods and hazards and stuff like that, she has to give herself up.
So here we are. Hina's at a spot where she has to choose between effectively saving all of Tokyo by giving up her life.
All of Japan, really.
All of Japan, yeah, really. Save all of Japan by giving up her life, but also giving up her love. And Hodoka is fighting hard just to keep her around.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the law is closing in on all of them, and the allies they've made along the way, the law is closing in on them too, because the allies are helping them in their escape. And that's where we're going to leave you, because, and I'm not going to say, this is clearly, it can't all, the ending can't be good, because
Someone loses.
there will be great
Yeah.
loss one way or another. And it's one of those things, as you're watching it all play out at the end, it's kind of man, I don't even know what I want to happen.
I had an expectation of what I thought would happen. I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, right? As you're watching, it's kind of wow, the picture is painted grim. It doesn't look like there's a third alternative
Yeah.
in which, happily ever after can be anything. Spoiler, there is no third alternative. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty cut and dry. Like, she lives and the country dies, or she dies and the country lives.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's our options.
And meanwhile, like, Hodaka's probably going to jail either way.
Yeah.
Because everything that's going on, or at least juvenile. So you have all that building up and everything, and that's where we're leaving you guys. Sarah, anything you want to say about Weathering with You, or frankly, the legendary writer that is Makoto Shinkai?
This is only the second movie that we've watched from this particular person, and I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. I want to give a shout out to the artistic style. It was phenomenal. The scoring, the music was absolutely on point and amazing.
Yeah.
And we also forgot to mention the cat whose name is Rain. I love Rain. Rain was adorable. But yeah, I want to watch every movie that this guy's done now because of Your Name and because of Weathering with You. I want to know more about this world. I want to know more about this guy's, everything he's put out so far, which, again, we've only seen 2. Absolutely amazing. I did like Your Name more, but that does not mean Weathering with You was bad. It was also fantastic.
Like, we're not comparing it to Your Name.
We're not.
Like, I need to make that pretty clear. Like, this is a good movie. Does
Absolutely.
it have some pacing issues? Yes. Most of the conflict and a lot of the action happens in the last 15 minutes of it. But the building of the characters and their personalities up to that point in time, complemented by an amazing score and amazing artwork,
Beautiful.
just kind of keeps you there until an ending that probably needed another 20 minutes.
I would have been okay if it was 20 minutes longer.
Yeah, but it was still a really good movie, and honestly, this movie made a fan of me. And when I'm looking at Reddit, they're kind of like, this might have been the worst of his movies. It's like, not saying it's bad, but this might have been the worst of his movies. And I'm kind of like, well, sign me up to watch every other movie in the collection if this one was the worst.
If that was the worst.
Was still really good. So, once again, I just really appreciated the world and the subtle connection that wasn't too forced on you between the two films.
Yeah.
So once again, we dove into the world of Weathering with You, and we met our lead romantic couple in Hina and Hodaka. After that, we met some of the characters that helped them along their journey and brought them together. And finally, we explored the conflicts that present themselves a challenge to Hina and Hodaka in this world. We hope you had as much fun exploring the world of Weathering with You as we did, and consider watching this movie. So if you like what you heard today, make sure you listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you stream your podcast. Listen to all of our J-Mill for Real podcasts, and hit us up on social media, like, subscribe, and follow. Once again, this was Exploring Anime with Friends. Let's explore together. And now for a word from our sponsors. Binbuster. Live from YouTube, it's Tuesday night, the call sign of the Binbuster YouTube channel. Once you hear this, you know you're about to embark on a journey through pop culture, movies, comics, and more. Buckle up and enjoy the ride every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. EST. Poppin' Cinema with Joe Mama and friends. Showcasing the power of cinema, join Joe Mama as he introduces different friends each week to a movie they have not seen before, popping their cinematic cherry as they talk about the movie they just watched every Tuesday at midnight.